I am Judith Klein. On the train to the Auschwitz death camp, I traveled in my mother's womb. I am 77 years old today. I am one of the youngest Holocaust survivors. At the end of 2019, a total of 5,000 victims of the Hungarian Holocaust forced into slave labor and labor service lived. More than 1,000 have died since the epidemic due to their age, illness, and COVID-19. I became a fine artist, a sensitive person. I do not want our sufferings to be washed away by the suffering of others. No to relativization of the Holocaust and rewinding history. The Budapest Appeal of Remembrance, September 2021. The European Union Parliament, in the pressure of extremists, is relativizing the Holocaust, rewriting history in one of its resolutions. This is demanding the historic unity against anti-Semitism. It is also damaging the relationship between the European Union and countries in the global South, as well as the West-East relations. We urge the Malmö International Forum of Holocaust Remembrance on the 13th of October 2021 not to do the same. In this appeal, we do not criticize the European Union as a whole, but the distinction of remembrance. This path have been laid by several European Union initiatives. The House of European History of Brussels and the European Parliament resolution of 19 September 2019 on the importance of European remembrance for the Forum for the Future of Europe have been two of them. In both cases, Nazi Germany and Soviet Union are represented as genocidal. In this way, the Holocaust is relativized. We strongly oppose to this way of diminishing the systematic extinction of the Jewish and Roma people during World War II. The only acceptable way to address issues of perpetration, collaboration, and victims of oppression, terror, and genocide is by treating all people as having equal value. People and actors from Western or Central and Eastern Europe, from Europe or outside Europe must be judged with the same standards. It is a legitimate concern to address the historic experience of all European countries and people. Western Europe cannot be the main reference. Also, Central and Eastern Europe contains also Central and Eastern European countries that are members of the European Union or not, as Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia have to be included. Such a more inclusive understanding of history must also include oppression, terror and genocide by European actors outside Europe, perpetrations that treat their own population well while oppressing or killing people in all other countries must be condemned on equal terms with perpetrators acting violently against Europeans. Less oppressive domestic policies is not excuse for treating people or color in the South violently. On the contrary, must such double standards be condemned as racist. The House of European History and the EP resolution is doing the opposite. By excluding Western violent oppression during the World War II era against anti-colonial and liberation movements in the global South, the European Union distorts history. Finally, what is left is whitewashing the colonial Western powers and their appeasement policies toward Nazi Germany and fascist Italy. The terror and mass starvation under British, French, and other Western rule in India, Middle East, and Africa, killing millions in this era of central importance for political identities today are wiped and of memory of the European Union. We are left with a one-sided presentation of history that is demonizing the Soviet Union as equal to Nazi Germany. A rewriting of history where the memory of victims against Nazism and fascist racism as a result of the alliance between Soviet Union, China, United Kingdom, United States, and other countries is erased. A victory where Soviet and Chinese people carried the biggest burden. This is disgraceful for Europe. The memory political war between the United States and Russia serves no good purpose. We, the signatures of this appeal, have different views of the role of Western powers and the Soviet Union. But we share the common point of view, saying yes to placing European history in its global context. Only through such an effort can the different experiences in different parts of Europe be reconsidered. We also condemn any attempt to relativize the Holocaust and to call for re-establishing the historic unity against anti-Semitism and as an important step toward historic unity against the racism.